Salve a tutti, sono Almarok e benvenuti in un nuovo video. Oggi siamo qui per fare un'audio intervista ad Ivar Bjørnson, famoso per essere chitarrista e compositore degli Enslaved. Prima di iniziare, lo ringrazio per la sua disponibilità, per aver accettato di essere nostro ospite. Vi lascio l'intervista e vi auguro buona visione.
Why you started to do music and why you started to do with metal music, talking about the beginning of your career.
Yeah, it was, lots of other kids who start with music that I see other bands. For me, it was Kiss that I see on Norwegian television. That made me dream of playing in a band myself. I watch every Saturday. There was a show on Norwegian television with Kiss, and I thought I want to do this sometime. And luckily for me, I have a father who play guitar, like acoustic guitar, just for entertainment at home. And when I asked him to teach me something, he did. And yeah, so I started playing the guitar at around 7-8 years old, and already at 10-11, I had my first thrash metal band started. And that was the beginning.
What about your best influences on the guitar?
Oh yeah, for me, the big ones has to do with my favorite songwriters. I've never been, I really admire really good lead guitarists, but for me it's the songwriter guitarist that's been big for me. So Quarton of Bathory, always a huge influence. Euronymous, Mayhem, but also from more, let's say, mainstream music like Pink Floyd, David Gilmour, very big influence. Robert Fripp of King Crimson. These very innovative and personal guitarists, I feel that they have a language with the guitar. That's more important for me than necessarily technical skill. So I would say, yeah, maybe those four would be my big influences.
You have recently ended a tour with Enslaved. Can you talk about it?
Yeah. It was fantastic. We went in Latin America for the first time in 2019, which was wonderful, and we got the chance to come back this year. It's great, the dedication of the fans. Amazing it's mind-blowing to see how close people follow the band, even though it's a continent away. It's really a big inspiration. It's very different because it's far away, but at the same time, strange to experience how similar it is. Metal fans all over the world have, we have a common language, and they meet us. Enslaved fans in Argentina are not so different from Enslaved fans in Europe, Italy, for instance. And they have they have some very good food over there. So it was really a pleasure to be there.
This year is the 30th anniversary of the two first Enslaved album. Can you talk about the realization of these albums?
It's strange because it's a long time, right? It's almost it's a young person's life, 30 years, but still it feels like it's really close to home, close to our hearts. Some years ago when we started to do these anniversary shows of the old albums, you're a little bit nervous that it will feel like a trip to the museum, because you don't want to feel like we're still an active band. We don't want to feel like, this is our past and like going to a cemetery. But we discovered very quickly that this is, the spirit is the same. It's an ocean of time between, but it's really easy for us to connect. So we enjoy these shows a lot, and it's pretty fantastic to see people at the shows. There are both people who have those albums, who were listening when they came out, and they're even bringing, sometimes they bring their kids, and this is their gateway into Enslaved. And it shows that you can come into Enslaved from the beginning with this album, so you can start now and you can go the other way and go backwards. So yeah, we're really proud of them, and I think this is something we will continue to do. We're really proud of them.
And after Frost, the Enslaved sound was gradually changed. We started to make progressive elements and to stop with black metal in the choice. And can you talk about evolution?
Yeah, I don't, it's that's just a matter of opinion, but I don't think we stopped with the influence. The influence is still there with some. And especially now that we started to do, like the last question we talked about, that these early influences are still there, but they're mixed in with a lot of other things. This is how we are as music listeners. We listen to a lot of different music, and so we are inspired by a lot of different music. And that's really important for us, to have everything that influences us in our music active. Not only, we are metal, would say we are extreme metal people in the core. The band that started out, and we will always be a band that comes from that scene. But for us, the choice has been easy. We have to try and experiment and incorporate other things to keep it interesting, to keep the flame alive for ourselves. And we are very lucky to have listeners who seem to follow us on all these different paths that we're taking. And that's also a big inspiration.
What about the Viking elements of the band? How was born this idea to combine black metal and Viking elements?
It was just natural from the beginning, We wanted something that we were dedicated to, something that we could stand behind. We had the same kind of musical influence as the black metal bands, the same sort of expression, but the satanic element was not really something we felt was personally correct for us. That we had different things that we wanted to express. So we found this, the historical era predating Christianity and everything in the north, what we call the Viking era, and it's been with us. It's got many. It fits our music in a sense. It has not only the aggressive and the dark elements, but there's also room for some more mellow, some slower and softer aspects of life. And it still follows us. Everyone has their different interpretations and different ways of using it. And I think that's exactly how it should be.
You are known for your work with other bands like Bjørnson. Can you talk me about your experience with Bjørnson and about your work with the band?
Yeah, Bjørnson, that was a wonderful time. It was back then, and now I think my impression now it's more of a band, but then it was more of a project belonging to one person, to Øystein G. Brun, a very talented friend of ours here in Bergen, who asked a lot of his friends in various bands, including me, to help him form sort of a backing band for his musical ideas. I think it was a really interesting band to be part of, but then it became more than a project. It started to tour, it's gained a massive fan base around the world, and Øystein, of course, had a need to have a more dedicated band, and for me, it was impossible to dedicate the time that Bjørnson deserved, so I faded out from the band, but you just see from the lineup he has now, that it's one of the strongest bands coming from Norway. They tour, we meet them at festivals. I wish them all the best, and I'm proud of having that as part of my history.
And about your work with Einar?
That's also wonderful. I knew Einar when he was in the Bergen scene way back in the 2000s. He was playing drums with Gorgoroth and all kinds of stuff. Very talented guy, of course. And then he moved away, and there was rumors that he was working on a new project that was more pure into the Norse side of things, conceptually and musically. Yeah, and then we didn't meet again for 2014 when the Norwegian government asked us to write music together for anniversary of the Norwegian Constitution, 200 years. And it was really, really strange and wonderful to meet. We rediscovered our friendship, and we also discovered all these things we had in common when it comes to concepts, even though our music had developed in very different directions. We've done 2 albums. And we will be doing a 3rd, but as you can see from when you follow Vardruna, he has a global success that is unbelievable, and hopefully there will be some time during the next few years that we can start working on the 3rd album.
You have collaborated with Gorgoroth at Incipit Satan. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, it's the same. Bergen is a little town. It's a small town on the west coast of Norway. Everybody knows everybody, and the guys from Gorgoroth, we're good friends. We're still friends, but now I guess people have moved outside of Bergen. We have families. We meet at festivals and stuff like that. But back then it was closer. They needed some keyboard work done on their Incipit Satan, which I think is one of their best albums, to be honest. Not necessarily because of my keyboards, but I just like the whole approach to that album. The music is very, for me, quite innovative and new thinking, and it was really fun to be part of that. Maybe not what people connect with Enslaved automatically, Gorgoroth, but I think it's still one of the big important bands of the early 90s, of this creation of the Norwegian black metal sound.
At the beginning of interview, you mentioned Euronymous. So, what about his influence on you, and what do you think about him and about the facts of Inner Circle?
Yeah, we weren't really involved with the Inner Circle in that manner, like many others were. As I said, we didn't have this satanic thing. So my connection with Euronymous, me and Götle, our connection was purely as musicians. He was the guitarist and a songwriter, one of my favorites. He was also running the record label Death Like Silence, which signed Enslaved. So yeah, I would say he was a musical mentor. We didn't talk about this satanic stuff. I guess that wasn't. Why would he discuss that with someone who wasn't into it? I guess also my young age, also made it maybe not so interesting for him to talk about those things. But we talked a lot about music. He taught me a lot on guitar techniques, his philosophy on composing and so on. So a very, very big influence on me. And I regarded him as a very good friend, even though the age difference, of course, made a little bit of a distance between us. But I don't think Enslaved would sound anything like it does without his influence on me as a guitarist.
If you want to be remembered for an album in your career, an album you are particularly proud, which is and why?
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. The natural thing would be Heimdall, the last one, but that would be so typical that, okay, let's try and say something else. Maybe Below the Lights, because I think that album takes some risks. I think it goes outside of the beaten path. I think we did a daring thing there with Enslaved to go in that direction. I think it has a lot of really solid songs and arrangements.
How many things have changed, in your opinion, in metal scene where you started from nowadays, and how is difficult to become a musician nowadays? Do you have an advice for young musicians?
Oh yeah, young musician. Just to be very clear about your ambitions, because the world it's much harder. You know, it's harder to travel, to tour. It's more expensive. You have all kinds of rules and visas and border rules and all that crap. And it's more democratic with the internet and all that, but it also makes it very hard to be seen. So I think it's more important than ever that a young band that everyone agrees on the ambition. Why are we doing this band? If the answer is that you want to have a commercial success to make money from it, then you have to be realistic and make sure that you work within the rules of that. You have to maybe sacrifice some artistic integrity and all that, and be okay with that. If your answer is like it was for us, that you just want to make your favorite music with your favorite people, well, you can't go wrong. Just make sure that you have a backup plan, because you probably won't get rich from it, no matter. You have to be really, really, really huge to be able to live off music these days. So, but if you feel that music itself is a reward, nothing can stop you, no matter what happens in the world.
What are your projects for this 2025?
Write more music for Enslaved, a new album. Maybe have time to record it, who knows. Do some more tours, do some festival shows, and keep having fun with the band in our 35th year. And maybe work a little less. And I would like to have a little bit more time off in 25. That would be good.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for staying today. It was a very pleasure for me. And good luck for your other projects. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience, man. And thank you for supporting Enslaved. Appreciate it.